We're going to talk about new varieties for 2021 today. It's one of my favorite topics. It's a program I've given in the past, but not recently. So I hope to show our gardeners in the area some new things that they might like to try this year. And before we get started with that, though, I'd like to tell you a little bit about where we get our seeds. Most of them come from Johnny's Selected Seeds. It's a company in Albion, Maine that has a wide variety of plants and seeds to sell, but it has a special connection to me. The product managers, vegetable product manager there is a guy named Peter Zook, and he's a former student of mine here at MSU, so we have a nice connection to Johnny's that way. Another company we use is Burpee's, an old time company down to the Ball Seed Company. They're good for a lot of different things. One caution there is Burpee's doesn't sell large quantities of seeds in a packet, so it's mostly by the packet. Territorial Seed is a company in Oregon that has a lot of heirloom type varieties, but they're good for this part of the country. A company you may not have heard of much is called Seeds and Such. It's the one we became familiar with a couple of years ago. And they have some nice tomatoes and other things that we'll talk about. If you're into tomatoes and peppers, the company called Totally Tomatoes is a good one to use, probably 150 different varieties of each one of those. So if you're into that crop, good company to use. If you need large quantities of larger seeds, Vermont Bean Seed is a good company. We get peas, beans, and sweet corn from them. They're based out of Wisconsin. And then there's a company called Horticultural Products and Services. We use a little bit as well. If you're into flowers, I like to use Park Seed. They're based in South Carolina, so their vegetables are not so much suited for us, but their flowers do very well here, and they have a nice selection of flowers. And finally, there's Baker Heirloom Seeds based in Missouri. If you're into heirloom varieties, that's a good company to use. So let's get started and talk about the first new seed or new variety this year. And the first 20 or so of these are all going to be available from Johnny's Selected Seeds, and it's Abigail tomato. This particular tomato is a pink heirloom type. It's 75 days, 10 to 15 ounce fruit, exceptionally high yields, resist cracking, and that's kind of an interesting thing. A lot of our tomatoes here do crack a little bit, and so if we find one that's resist that, that's a real plus. It also has a meaty texture and a rich flavor. Let's go back a little bit to that 75-day thing. That has to do with how early maturing a tomato is, and in this climate, unless you're producing tomatoes in a greenhouse or a hoop house, you're going to want to get tomatoes that are probably 70 days or less. So 75 is just kind of barely getting there. They'll probably mature in September. Moving to the next one, Tendita lettuce. It's a crunchy, snackable, stackable mini iceberg type. Forms nice hearts at full maturity. Extremely slow bolting, and that's a good thing around here. Juiciness and the crunch of an iceberg type with romaine sweetness. I know personally we used to always deal with the iceberg types, but then we found that we really liked the shape and the way that the romaine goes together. So the one that combines the two of those things is probably a good thing. Here's an interesting pepper, snowball pepper. It's an ivory colored bell pepper, medium size and blocky. When they get completely ripe, they're golden yellow. Flavor is mild when ivory and sweet and fruity when golden, and it has a high yield potential. And this one does not have any hotness to it. We're going to talk about heat and peppers here a little bit later when we get to another one. The next one is Unagi cucumber. This is a glossy, spineless cuke with tiny seed cavities, unparalleled eating quality, 9 to 11 inches long and delicious up to 14 inches. It's gynoecious and parthenocarpic. Now, what do we mean by gynoecious and parthenocarpic? Well, it means it produces female flowers only and parthenocarpic means there aren't any seeds involved. And those are probably two good things to be looking for in a cucumber. This tends to look like an English cucumber, and I suspect that's what it's going to be like. We haven't grown it before, but I think we'll be growing it this year. Next is an onion called Rosa de Milano. It's a superior strain of this open pollinated Italian classic. So it's not necessarily a new one, except it is open pollinated. Rock hard bulbs with thin necks cure easily for 6 to 9 months of storage, and it's supposed to be a great cooking onion. Another tomato that's kind of a different type called green bee tomato. As you can see, it's mostly green, it's certainly not red. It's another 75-day tomato. A new favorite for chefs known for its tangy flavor, firm texture, and long shelf life. Great for grilling or roasting, and it's an indeterminate type, which means it's going to grow tall, probably 6 to 8 feet if you have it in the right conditions. So if you're kind of in the market for a tomato that's a little bit different color, you might want to try this green bee tomato. A new spinach called red tabby. It's a red vein spinach for spring or summer, has an upright habit and uniform growth, and it's probably good for spinach. If you want a fresh salad or something like that with spinach, this would be good. Does it taste any different than any of the other spinaches that you might grow? Probably not. It has just this unique red stem to it, and maybe that's of interest too. Another spinach called Equinox. It's an improved Bloomsdale type for spring or fall. Faster growing and slower bolting than Bloomsdale. And any of you that have grown Bloomsdale know you pick 1 or 2 harvests and then it just goes to seed. And so anything that's much slower bolting than that has got to be a real plus. Fully savoyed leaves, which means they're kind of crinkly and has long stems. I think that's probably a disadvantage because it's the thing that you really like to eat with spinach are the leaves, not the stems, but that's up to each person. Moving into a flower, here's a beautiful sunflower. It's called a Pro-Cut Golden Light Sunflower. It's pollenless type, so that means it doesn't shed pollen. Slightly later to bloom than the standard Pro-Cut sunflowers. I don't know whether it's a single stem or not. From the picture here, it looks like it is. Single stems are of interest for those of us that are growing sunflowers to sell, but those of you that want sunflowers for your own use, you may want to have a multi-branching type, but this certainly is a very colorful sunflower. A new bean called Python, and you can see probably why it gets that name. It's a long, slender bean. It's what's called an Asian specialty bean. Smooth to dark green, glossy pods, stringless, sweet and richly flavored for steaming and stir fry. And it looks to me like you get a lot of pieces out of these beans. How productive they are, it's hard to say. The ads say it is quite productive. Here's a new broccoli called Bonarda. It's a productive overwintering mini broccoli with deep purple florets. So mini meaning small heads. Purple is kind of different for broccoli. It won't survive less than 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So you'll need to protect it if you're going to try to overwinter it here. And I'm thinking even outside protecting it, it's not going to make it. We get too much below 20 degrees most winters. That would probably kill this broccoli. So you're going to have to want to eat it during the regular season. I knew a carrot, Aranca, a versatile early bunching carrot. I think it's of the Nantes type, which means the ends of it are rather blunt. So it's very similar to the 2 carrots that we grow, Napoli and Bolero, but it has excellent texture and sweetness, 4 to 5 inch roots, and it's smooth skin. So that probably makes it a better carrot. Does it taste any different? Who knows? I think you ought to give it a try if you'd like to, if you're into carrots. For a really different carrot, here's one called Red Sun. Red roots with an improved shape. Looks to me more like it's kind of that Nantes type again. Roots are 7 to 8 inches long, and it's minor bolting when spring planted. Well, you're always going to want to plant your carrots in the spring anyway, so, and I'm never sure that bolting is a big issue with us. But if you're looking for a carrot with a different color and want it on the red side, you might try this red sun carrot. Here's a beautiful new cauliflower, Synergy. Large, sturdy plants produce big, well-domed heads. 60 days. Well, I don't think the days is really that important because cauliflower always matures around here. The thing you have to be careful of with cauliflower, of course, is that if that head is not protected from the sun, it can get sunburned. Now, some of the varieties are kind of a self-protecting because the leaves curl over the heads. Other varieties, they don't. So, and I'm not quite sure about this one, which way it would be, but if it doesn't cover that head, you want to pull the leaves over and pull them together with a rubber band so that it doesn't get sunburned. Sure is pretty though. A new sweet corn for us is called Sugar Buns. It's the longest harvest period of all the early sweet corn varieties, and it's of the SE type for sweetness and is all yellow. What do we mean by SE type? Well, SE stands for sugar enhanced. You remember when the first sugar enhanced type corns came out, they were called SH2. They had to be separated all by themselves, but the corn that they produced, and I'm sure it's true in this one as well, they stay sweet for a long time. You can pick them, put them in the refrigerator, and it'll still be sweet for a week or so. Contrast that to the old time sweet corns that you had to pop into the boiling water immediately upon harvest. Says it remains tender for up to 2 weeks in the field, so that means you don't have to pick it all at once, and that it's nice to have that extended type. Whether it's a real early type for Bozeman, I think you'd have to just grow it to see. But the one variety that we do grow that's early is called Northern Extra Sweet. We usually get sweet corn in mid-August to early September, and I suspect this might be similar to that. Eggplant, here's a new one called Asian Delight. It has these purple fruits to it. It's 60 days, high yielding on upright plants. Just a comment about eggplants usually don't do too well here because they like heat, and unless you're growing these in a hoop house, greenhouse, or alongside south side of a building, you're probably not going to get the heat to get an eggplant to mature. So you have to be aware of that. If you do like eggplant, grow it in one of those situations and you'll probably be able to get it to mature. A new lettuce called Winter Density lettuce. It says it's an old variety with modern adaptations. A sweeter romaine with delicate, narrow leaves and thinner ribs. Open-headed habit makes it less susceptible to tip burn. Nicely blanched center when mature. I don't know that we have much problem with tip burn, so I'm not sure that's a big feature, but if it's sweeter, that always makes for a better lettuce, and particularly if you like it in a romaine type. Another lettuce on the red side is called Marciano. It's a red butterhead type with impressive disease resistance, small dark red leaves and soft, well-filled heads. Again, I'm not sure whether disease resistance in lettuce is important for us here in Bozeman, but it might be all right. But it does have these nice, smooth, dark red leaves. If you're into shallots, here's a new one from Johnny's. Just has a number on it, BGS 270. It has iridescent, peachy pink skin covers, uniform bulbs, which are elongated, cylindrical, and easy to peel and cut. The sugar profile is well suited to caramelizing, and it stores well. We have really good luck growing shallots here in Bozeman, and I don't know whether this variety adds anything to what we are already able to do. We grow a variety called Camelot and Conservore. They both do very well here, but this might be another new one to give it a try. If you're into parsnips, here's a new one called Warrior. It says earlier harvest with bigger roots. Large cylindrical roots with a slow taper provide more bulk. Not recommended for overwintering due to large size. So many of you that have grown parsnips here before know that the sweetest and the best tasting parsnips are those that you harvest in March or April that have overwintered. But you also know they get pretty good sized roots, and sometimes those roots go down almost 2 to 3 feet and make for harvest difficult. So hopefully this one gets enough bulk to it in the fall that you can harvest it, say, in probably November and get a pretty good parsnip. Another interesting new variety, Red King radish. Of course, most of us know radishes as being red, but that has smooth, brilliant, red elongated roots. These don't look so brilliant to me, but they certainly are red. They're crisp and juicy into late maturity and can produce radishes over 1 pound and 5 inches long. I don't know whether that's a real positive or not. That sounds like a pretty good sized radish, and it might be kind of tough on the inside, but evidently these radishes can grow pretty good size and still maintain their crispness. So that might be a real positive. A new squash, the patty pan type squash called Lemon Sun. It's a uniform bright yellow patty pan type with bright green stem. The plants are open for ease of harvest and have minimal spines. Well, I think that might be a real positive, because any of you that pick squash know they can be pretty spiny and you almost have to harvest them with your gloves on. This might be a variety that would be less likely to stick your hands with all those spines. Having a bright green stem, I'm not sure what the positivity of that is. Makes it look pretty anyway, and a nice contrast. Another tomato from Johnny's is called Sapola's Pride. It's a large, refined sauce tomato, 82 days. That's getting pretty long for Bozeman. 10 to 16 ounce fruits. Dry texture ensures the fruits boil down quickly. Came to the United States from Sicily in 1906. So it's not new, but it is new to Johnny's. But we're going to talk about another sauce tomato at the end of the program today that I think you might want to consider in addition to this new one called Sapola's Pride. So that's the end of the varieties from Johnny's. The next ones that you can get from Vermont Bean Seed. This one is called Coyote Bush Bean, a 55-day bush bean of the year. 5-inch beans, 16 to 20-inch upright bushy plants with a concentrated pod set made for easy picking. Well, easy picking and beans, I think, are two different things. I don't know of any beans that you don't have to get down on your hands and knees or bend over to pick. But this is a new variety that Vermont Bean Seed has come up with, and looks pretty nice right there. A snap pea that's new is called Snack Hero. It's the 2021 pea of the year. The 4-inch pods resemble a bean but have the super sweet flavor of fresh pods. The vines are short and the pods are stringless so they can be eaten whole. Remember, the first snap pea that came out was called sugar snap pea. Those pea would grow to 6 or 8 feet tall, and all of the newer snap peas that have come out have been much shorter, and this looks like to be one of those. You'll notice that little sign down there in the bottom, AAS. That's the society that determines what's the new best variety of the year, and they've selected this particular snap pea as being the bean of the year, or pea of the year for 2021. A new beet called Early Wonder Beet is for greens primarily. It says it's a great dual-purpose beet. The dark green leaves with the red-purple veins are great for salads, sautéed or steamed, whereas the roots are bright red and 3 inches in diameter. I'm not sure what's so significant about this particular beet. We've grown Detroit red beets or similar ones for a long time. The leaves are always good for greens, and the beets always for the regular beet part. So you might want to try it if you're into new beets. Snackabelle red pepper. What a beautiful pepper this is. Again, from Vermont Bean Seed. It grows on 12 to 24-inch compact tall plants. It bears a heavy yield of blunt-ended peppers, maturing from green to red with sweet flavor. features an easy out stem for quick cleaning. So most peppers that are in Bozeman, you're going to have to grow inside, greenhouse or hoop house. Getting peppers to mature outside, that's pretty tough. You can always get green peppers, but to get them to mature to be red is real difficult. But maybe Snackabell will prove us wrong. A new small tomato called Little Bing tomato. It's compact, determinate with 1-inch fruit, good to grow in buckets or small pots, things like this. Plants are 12 to 24 inch tall, and that's probably good. You don't have to stake them up or anything like that. 1-inch fruit, that's pretty good size for these cherry type tomatoes, so that might be a new one that you'd want to try. Here's another new one, again from Vermont bean seed, Emiko Napa cabbage, 60 to 63 days, barrel-shaped heads reach up to 6 pounds. And that means that's pretty good size head. Green outer leaves and vanilla-colored interior, crisp and sweet with a mild flavor. So if you want a great big Napa cabbage, this might be the one to try. Here's another new tomato. This is now from Seeds and Such, called Chef's Choice Bicolor Tomato. This is a 2020 AAS award winner. 10 to 12 ounces fruit, golden yellow flesh, and the fruits are kissed with pinkish poppy stripes. Superbly sweet flavor. When it says it's an award winner, that means it's got a lot of testing done in a lot of sites around the country. So when it gets that kind of a label to it, you know it's been very well tested and does well in a variety of locations. Bunching onion, another AAS award winner. This is 2016. Warrior bunching onion. It's only 30 days if transplanted to get it to this stage right here. Has a crisp, pungent taste, dark green, slender stalks, and my guess is it's probably a pretty tasty onion. A new broccoli called Godzilla, again from Seeds and Such. 100 days, forms large, very heavy, 4 to 5 inch small beaded heads with lower leaf attachments for quick trimming. And one thing you have to remember about broccoli, it's going to get wormy if you don't keep it protected. And we use BT or Dipel, the organic approved material that you spray on the broccoli heads once a week, and that keeps those worms from developing. This is a very nice looking broccoli. How different it is from all the other broccolis that are available, I don't know, but probably worth a try. And here's the plant or the variety that I find the most striking this year, called Golden Heinz Radish, from Seeds and Such. 1 to 2 inch bulbs, white fleshed, leafy greens with purple streaked ribs, but the golden yellow color is just so striking. I'm assuming that it has the nice radish flavor that a nice red radish would have. But if you want something with a contrasting color, boy, this would be one to try. I think we'll certainly give it a try. Saladmore Bush Cucumber. It's a 2014 AAS award winner. Dark green, 24-inch leafy vines produce 7 to 8 inch fruit. Resistant to powdery mildew, and this has got to be a big plus. This is the one disease that gets into our cucumbers and our squash each year, and even into our peas. It'd be sure nice to have a resistant variety too, and this is supposed to be that way. So I think it would be worth giving that a try just to get that disease resistance. Another tomato from Seeds and Such called Patio Choice Yellow Tomato. It's a 2017 award winner. Produces 1-inch fruit on compact determinate plants. Mild flavor, juicy, sugar-sweet fruit with just the right amount of acid. This would be one that you'd want to compare to the one that we currently grow called Sun Gold. Sun Gold is about the tastiest tomato that we ever grow around here, but it has the problem that it likes to crack and split when it gets to be mature. Whether this tomato would resist that or not, we don't know, but you might want to try it just to compare. The other problem with Sun Gold, it's an indeterminate type, and and grows very tall. But if you want a short yellow tomato, give this one a try. Another new pepper called Just Sweet. It's a 2019 award winner, also seeds and such. A smaller version of a typical four-lobe sweet bell pepper, extra sweet and needs no staking due to a bushy habit. Fruits mature to a vivid, shiny, golden orange color. So if you want something to contrast with the green or red peppers, here might be a good one to try. Now, I mentioned heatness in peppers. This one called Carolina Reaper Super Hot Pepper. It's the world's hottest pepper, registering 1,569,000 Scoville units of heat. That means it is really, really hot. Even the peppers that we typically think of as being hot have maybe 200 to 300 Scoville units of heat. This one has over 1 million. So this is one that if you wanted to handle it, you'd want to have your gloves on. You certainly wouldn't want to touch your eyes or any other place on your body that that hot pepper thing could get to you. So this is more of a curiosity item than anything that I'd suggest that you grow, but it is available from seeds and such. And they do have also a very nice new purple tie-dye petunia. It's the newest member of the Wave Petunias series. They're early to flower and they bounce back quickly after hail. Spreads 2 to 3 feet. I just find the color very attractive, and I'm sure petunias do well in Bozeman, and so this would be a new variety to give a try to. Another flower, this one from Horticultural Product Services, a Holy Pink Zinnia. It's a 2020 award winner. The size and number of blooms are superior to related varieties. 3 to 4 inch blooms produced all season long. And I don't know about you, but I like zinnias because of their colorful flowers. And I think I'm going to try this as a new type. I like that particular pink color. Another new petunia from Horticultural Products called Easy Wave Rose Fusion Petunia. 2 to 3 inch blossoms, blooms early. Again, a very nice, attractive flower. Here's another new interesting crop, a baby hybrid cauliflower, and that's the name of it, baby hybrid. Again, from Horticultural Products, though I've seen it in some other catalogs too. It's the smallest and cutest cauliflower available. 2 to 3 inch heads, and the leaves are edible raw or cooked, can be grown in pots. I've never eaten cauliflower leaves, but I guess you can on this variety. Of course, with these really small heads, it's made for just maybe one meal or a salad or two. So I think this would be a good one to try. I suspect you don't have to be too careful about covering those heads. They're too small to get sunburned. Maybe not, who knows. Another new zinnia called Precisio, also from Horticultural Products. It's new from the developers of the Dreamland series. Spectacular dahlia-like flowers, 4 inches with double blossoms, 10 to 12 inches tall. That's pretty spectacular. And with those range in colors that you see there, it's a very attractive zinnia. From Burpees, this is called the First 13P. Presents a phenomenal 13 peas per pod. Though if you count the number of peas in these pods, I don't count 13, I think there's 12. But nevertheless, 3 to 4 foot vines with later harvests of 9 to 12 peas per pod. Keeps producing unusually late in the season. Hopefully it's resistant to powdery mildew, but they don't say anything about that. But certainly this is a large potted pea. Contrast that with the green arrow that we typically grow. Green arrow usually has 9 to 10 peas in a pod. So these are bigger pods, and might be worth giving it a try. From Territorial Seed Company, we have Poinsett 97 cucumber. Organic growers will appreciate the disease tolerances of this crisp, meaty cucumber. 8-inch long fruit, and it was bred by Cornell University. Plants are 3 to 4 feet long, so they're not terribly big, but those are certainly nice looking fruits that it produces there. And looks like it doesn't have a lot of seeds. So that would be a positive too. Another new broccoli called burgundy broccoli. This comes from Burpees. A sprouting broccoli with shocking purple florets atop pale green stems. Grows quickly, sprouts reliably. I'm not sure that's the kind of broccoli that I particularly like. I like the regular round dome head broccolis, but I suspect this has good broccoli flavor and be something to use in stir fry. Then finally, here we have the tomato that I was going to tell you about. This is also from Burpee, called Super Sauce Tomato. This isn't particularly new. It's been out for several years. It's one that one of our club members, Yvonne Baskin, introduced us to. These fruit are weigh up to 2 pounds. It's a 70-day tomato, so it's not super long. Produce gallons of luscious seedless sauce, 1 tomato per sauce jar, and it's indeterminate. So if you're into making sauce out of tomatoes, or just actually liking a nice big slicing tomato, this one is a good one. We grew it last year for the first time in the club, and we're going to grow more of it. We'll have it for sale at our plant and tool sale, and we recommend that you give it a try if this is the type of tomato that you might find interesting. And so with that, that's the new varieties for this year. One of the fun things about gardening is always trying something new. So hopefully you found something in this list that is attractive to you, that you might give it a try. And good luck with your gardening for 2021. Thanks for attending.
Don, just a couple of quick questions, if I might.
Sure.
What advice would you give our members with respect to getting their seeds?
Okay, good question, Pat. As many of you found out last year, seed stocks got really short fairly early in the season, and a lot of the varieties weren't available, or you had to wait lay in the season longer than you wanted to. That's because of I think the interest in gardening that the COVID virus stimulated. That same thing is true again this year. We've been warned by the seed companies that their stocks are going to be running short probably early, and so I recommend that you get your orders in ASAP. The Garden Club has already ordered ours. Our seeds are here and we're ready to go. But and we did order them over the internet, and that's really a good way to go. So if you're interested in gardening this year and want to try some new varieties, don't wait too long.
Don, with respect to the tomatoes, are there any of these new varieties that you might have as starters for our plant and tool sale?
Oh, good question. That we always have tomatoes at our plant and tool sale, and we are going to grow some of them. I'm not sure just exactly which yet. We haven't really made that decision, other than that I know that Super Sauce is going to be one of the ones we'll have available. Probably other things like the Standard Early Girl and Sun Gold, Sweet 100s. We'll have those as well.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate your taking the time to put this together for us.
You're most welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
You bet.